Your hosts are Jared and Jason, and you have arrived at the after party. The crown winner of last week is Dude Bro Moment, financially gifting $75. Can you believe it? $75. That is fantastic. Thank you so much, good brother, and congratulations. Second place, let's see here. Was it Tomb of Arminius? Was that right? At $34.58. Congratulations and thank you so much as well. Financially gift on Entropy, folks, which will be up and running here in just a moment. It looks like it's loading right now, and it is up and running. Or you can head on over there to Odyssey if you feel like it. 15% cost to you there, or Cash App. No cost to you. URLs for all three are in the description below. Jared and I, of course, evenly share the financial gifts with our guests here on the after party. Now, today, as you can see on your screen, we are absolutely inundated with stars across the white positive sphere. We have, of course, Yizz, the unifier, and we have the great ForNull is with us. And of course, Jared George, and I would pass it right over to him. But what I'm going to do first is this is Jared George's, one of his big days, ladies and gentlemen. He released one of his songs we've been waiting a long time for, and it is epic beyond epic. If you haven't heard it, that's okay, because you're going to hear it now. And I'm going to make some changes to the mic. And so there'll be silence for a moment before it plays, because I want to try to get it to play as clearly as possible. This is Jared George, The Great Order's brand new song, I Have Made.
I might be far gone, I don't know. I'm about to tell what I know is so. Got the reason, got a feel to the core. Your excuses just block the road. I have heard it all before. I want something more. I don't care what you say. I know what I have made. I don't care what you scheme. I know what I have seen. Memory. I'll be alright. I'll be home tonight. Seems I'm always gone. Pray no. Seeing with eyes closed is what's so. I have heard it all before. I want something more. I don't care what you say. I know what I have made. I don't care what you scheme. I know what
That, ladies and gentlemen, was I Have Made. Today is the premiere of that magnificent piece. How awesome was that? Mr. George, congratulations. It was absolutely worth the wait. We have all been. In fact, just the other night I was talking with ForNull, and we were talking about how eager we were for this song to come out. And finally it's here, man. But congratulations. Thank you so much for working so hard on it. And welcome, as always, host of the show here on Tap. What do you have to say for your proud self, my brother?
I think you're getting really good at sounding like an old school DJ, radio DJ. I feel like I was being introduced on a radio show back in the day. I appreciate it, but thank you for that and everyone's support.
I love your voice, Jared. Your music is great, and it's always a treat to hear you. You're like a blast right out of the early 90s, man. It's great.
Thank you. Yeah, it was way too long between now and the last time music was released, but life was a little topsy-turvy in late 2021 and opening 2022, so getting back into the swing of things.
Yeah.
But thank you for your comment. Yes.
Oh, the song is just magnificent, and I've already been blasting it. I probably played it 20 times already. Tell folks where they can go and get this song so they can have it in its full beautiful clarity as you made it.
I'll put the link in the bio. If you go to my social media and my I'm going to put this on my site too. I created one of those digital calling cards where there's a list of different kinds of links. But this weekend, I'm actually putting up just one of those, which is the specific link that shows it gets you to the different streaming services. Obviously, the most popular one is Spotify. I hadn't really put a lot of energy into Spotify yet before this song, but I'm trying to see if we can get a lot of spins this weekend. So if you wouldn't mind, especially if you're on Spotify, I'll put the link in the chat, but if you can go play it this weekend, because if enough people play it within a short amount of time, it spikes the algorithm. It's much more likely to share it out. So, I've been experimenting a lot with some new things with micro videos, and I've had some success with that on Instagram Reels. So just trying a lot of new things and reaching, wider ranges of people. But I will put that link in the chat in a moment. And that will.
I've already done it. I'm putting it in all the chats and all the platforms.
Oh, cool.
Let me see which link. Yeah, if you got it from my bio with the socials, I see what it was. No, I don't mean the YouTube chat. I don't mean the YouTube link. It's a link it'll open Spotify or other players like Apple. That's it's important to play it on Spotify this weekend. If you're on Spotify, please ask that favor of everybody.
I'm going to be playing it on Spotify.
Yeah,
I don't even have Spotify. It's I don't really do mobile devices, so I don't know much about that stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to change the focus, and I'm not as focused this time on YouTube.
Oh, sorry.
But no, it's okay. I mean, anyone listening still in the chat, you have the YouTube link, and if you're listening in replay, then just go to my website or my socials, and in the bio of the socials will be that other link where it's a little broader and it shows everything. It's a wider range of like all my different links. It's not Linktree, but it's like a more media focused version of one of those.
Can I play it on my desktop from Spotify?
Yeah, you can sign it to Spotify from desktop. Absolutely. You don't have to be on mobile.
Okay. Because I'll do that during the gathering on Sunday.
And then I'll see if I could do like a visual video. Right now, I just have this video where I took the cover image and just kind of threw this little animation on it.
I have to say, this Defiant, I don't care what you say, what I have made is just badass. It's
I like
badass that. with like the absence, or maybe I'm wrong, and I'd like ForNull to jump in because he's a music man and I'm not, so that he can give his 2 cents. But there's like this. I don't know if there are drums or not at the beginning, but it's almost like it's this kind of country boyish in a field kind of beginning to it.
A stomp, a little stomp with the kick drum, I think is what you're talking about, Jason.
Oh, all right. So yeah, and it's just like this. it's like this rockin' tune that just like comes out. It sounds like it comes out of like a guy was just sitting there playing on the guitar and strumming a few things, experimenting with a few things, and then all of a sudden this kick-ass song comes out of him and the guitar, like it was just meant to happen. Like no work was put into it, and it ended up perfect anyhow. That's just so impressed with that, and it was definitely worth the wait. But ForNull, what are your thoughts? Because I know you were with me when we were both saying,
yeah.
"Where's this guy's masterpiece?"
I know. Well, I was privileged enough to hear it, I don't know, several months ago, and as it was developing in the mix and everything, and I was completely blown away the first time I heard it. I just thought, oh my God, the stereo field, it has a very wide stereo field, especially on the one part where before the chorus. And I just love that. Like the mix, everything sounds great. Of course, the singing, Jared, just his singing gets better, I think, with every song he's
Yes.
like developing more. Not, I wouldn't say like he didn't have personality in his vocals, but he's like getting more techniques that are kind of unique to his way he likes to express things, and I like that. And I heard that on our collaboration, him doing some things, and he even mentioned that to me, and I hear it even going further now with this song. So yeah, it's like it's top notch. It sounds like a radio friendly hit, but not a cheesy radio song, but something cool. Like, I don't want to name bands because I am totally out of touch, but maybe like Arctic Monkeys or something like that, or some rock music that has more synth. And
Arctic Monkeys is a good reference. They're a great contemporary band.
All right, then I guess I'm not that out of touch.
No.
And thanks for telling me about that band before. No.
Did I turn you onto them more?
No,
your wife
ForNull.
Yeah. I will briefly say I did not mix the song. A guy named Trey, he's credited in the song. He's a professional mix engineer and was kind enough to reach out to me last year and wanted to work with me. So he's responsible for the technical aspects of the mixing and kind of sweetening all the sounds. And thank you for what you said about the singing as well. I've been definitely working on that. And I will tell everyone who is listening live that link list, specifically I'm focusing on Spotify, as I said, is now in the chat. So if you wouldn't mind going and playing it this weekend, and if you have playlists on Spotify, if you would add it to a playlist, that helps as well. We want to spike that algorithm. I'm hoping to trigger enough. It doesn't have to be a ton, but I've heard from people in music that even if you might get a few hundred spins on Spotify within a short amount of time, it triggers the algorithm, and it's much more likely that it'll share it to other people. So that's what we're trying to see. Experiment to see if we can get that to happen on Spotify.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I will. I have Spotify. I don't have the paid subscription, but I've got I can log in from my PC and play stuff, so I'll definitely give it a spin or two.
Yeah, appreciate it. I appreciate everyone's support and all the kind words.
Well, before we get on to our two dragon creators that we have with us today, Jared, tell us what I get just in like a basic sort of a summary so that the laity we can understand as well. But what is this song? What is this song? How does it? What are the high points? What are the strong points?
I'm the artist. I'm the last person you want to ask about that.
Don't make an artist critique his own work now, Jason. Come on.
No, he can absolutely. He created it, and I want to hear, like, when you built this, my brother, what parts were you like most excited about?
Well, I will tell you briefly that something clicked for me when I wrote and performed the bass line in the choruses. You hear it like kick in the second half of the choruses. If anyone could pick that out with their ear. I'm ForNull and I, we're so attuned to every little thing. It's like we could pick out a triangle out of 50 different things.
Yep.
50 different things going on, and sometimes I forget. We all have different talents. I might not see shots in cinema. I love great films, and I'm attuned to aesthetics and sensitive to that in every art form. But of course, I'm most keyed in on music, so I might miss certain subtleties. So, I don't know if I'm losing people, but
Right.
I think most people that know rock music would know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the bass line. And the
Right.
chorus is kind of this walking bass line. We mixed it loud. We wanted it to be almost as loud as my voice to really feature it. But when I wrote that, when I was demoing
Sounds like they're coming to get you, Jared. They're on to you.
I know. I didn't know what I did. Yeah, when I wrote that part, it was I was like, ooh, that's sweet. That was a little highlight for me. I mean, obviously, you're always when you listen back, you always think of all the things that you could have done better, that kind of thing. But that was something that came together. And then just generally, I just wanted to do something dynamic. I think that's kind of what you were speaking to, Jason.
Yeah.
Like it starts off quiet, and it's only just over 3 minutes, but I feel like a lot's packed into it, but it's not. Hopefully, it's not like overbearing at the same time. It's like an easy listen, but it feels longer than 3 minutes, maybe, because there's a lot of different dynamics to it.
No, I was at the end of the 3 minutes. I was wanting it to keep going. So that's really, you've obviously done something really well there. Song ends, and the listener's thinking, "Why did the song end? I want more song. I want that to continue." But I think also I just want to mention to ForNull's point about, I don't know what to call it, the vocal variety, the I guess just maybe the vocal variety, but also it's almost like a variety of how do I want to say this? Not a variety of, like, I guess, personality traits. Almost seems like this variety of traits coming through in your vocals, and that's different there. That's getting stronger in you, and this song so far really just highlighted it. There are, it's sort of, okay, maybe a way to say it. We all know there are like plenty of pop, I guess, singers out there, and they're very two-dimensional, and they sing their song, and it's kind of like their voice is the exact same. Maybe it's just the way, like, the choir teacher taught them how to sing, and there's no variety to that. And then you listen to, like, Axl Rose, and his voice does all of these different things, and he's got all of this different energy and personality, and yeah, just that texture and that variety there. And you were never like the pop singers, but you clearly are heading in the direction away from the pop singers toward the singers that have more of that variety and gritty sort of realness, like Axl Rose. And so I heard that too, even in my layman's ears when it comes to music.
Well, first of all, yeah, it's not about layman's. I mean, popular music's not something you study. It's people's response to it is instinctual. It's in the body. So,
but to explain it,
well, Jason, you're so perceptive that you can, if you put your mind to anything, you can explain it with a lot of nuance and beauty and sensitivity. But again, I appreciate it. I mean, there's a lot of making music, as ForNull knows as well, that is really instinctual. You can't explain where it came from, and you're just responding to what feels good to you. But if there is part of something that is more rational or intentional, I have always been, in the way I play guitar or sing, I always wanted to be where, whether you like me or not, I don't quite sound like everything else, and there is a personality there. So the fact that you're saying that, you're keying into something that was intentional. So of course it's always nice to hear that people are picking up what you were trying to transmit.
Are you picking up what I'm laying down, or something like that? Wasn't that something?
You're picking up what I'm laying down. Exactly.
There you go.
Yes.
Well, that's perfect, man, because it's magnificent, and it's the stars for our star here, Jared George, the Great Order. And check it out, folks. And all his links, we're going to make sure all his links are in there. And remember this weekend to listen to this particular song on Spotify if you can, a bunch of times. If you can put it on replay and let it roll, just bang out to it, because it's a banger, as they say today. It's really great. But congratulations, Jared. That's really a wonderful, a magnificent work of art, and fantastic to finally get a chance to hear it. Been waiting and eager, and it ended up being worth the wait. Thank God you knocked it out of the park. That would have been tough.
Yeah, there was a lot of pressure. Yeah. Again, I didn't intend for a prolonged period of silence, but happy to be back, and we'll see. I'm looking at less formal ways of sharing music too, like little clips of things or bits of acoustic performance, even if it's like a 30-second clip on the micro videos, because that's a big thing going on in social media now.
That's awesome. And
it looked like you were having a lot of fun with those short little teasers that were making me bust up. Those were pretty funny.
Thank you. Yeah, they were fun to do.
Yeah, those were great. Yeah, and it's gonna catch, man. Your talent's undeniable, and just so everybody knows, this is my brother, Jared George. So when he hits the big time, just remember that's my brother, Jared George, was rocking it out.
Jason will be my hype man on the side of the stage, warming up the audience.
There you go. I could do that happily. Put me in one of those chain link fence like the Blues Brothers, so they can chuck things at me. It'll be fine.
Yeah, you won't get hit by the beer bottles being thrown at you.
Well, they could take you up on like a platform, like some big muscle dudes carrying you, and you're like chained to it, and then they set you down on stage, and you're chained to this thing, and you're raging and going crazy. I think make it like a big time wrestling thing,
Yeah, like a mix of cutting a professional wrestling promo and the crazy shit Alice Cooper used to do. Something.
There
like
you go. You were inside my head on that one. That was exactly what I meant.
I think me and ForNull were cut from the same cloth when we were young. That's what I think
so.
It definitely seems like. One last thought before we get into the creators of the dragons, and that is a visual that I had, and I don't know if this is something that Jared wanted to achieve or not, but I totally had a visual. Actually reminds me now, as I'm thinking about the visual I had listening to the song, reminds me there was a video. I guess there's been plenty of music videos with this sort of scenery, but it was I got the visual of almost like a flatbed truck country road, and Jared George was in the back of it rocking out with this song. That was just the visual I had, going down the countryside, and sort of in a way giving a finger to the establishment and everybody that we try to chase after.
That could be one scene. You know how a lot of videos, they have the artist in different contexts. Here's his intimate room or something, and here he is with his friends, at the barbecue or something. Could be one of 4 different scenes for the video as he's in the back of his pickup truck.
It's always interesting to hear. Once you release something, anyone that's ever done a creative work, once you release something, it's not yours anymore. It lives. It lives in the minds and experiences of all the people that are listening to it. It becomes your own experience. So it's always interesting to hear how it, what it evokes in other people.
I agree.
Yeah. It's the same with, I guess, just about every form of art. But with that, we're going to talk about segueing into another form of art, and that is these 2 magnificent creators of the Mondays Are for the Dragons. We want to focus on them and have them talk about their shows. And we'll start with Yizz, because her show comes on first on Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern time. It's roughly 6 to 8, runs a little bit beyond 8. And then ForNull's Dragon Show is 8 to 10, sometimes runs a little bit beyond there. But we'll start with Yizz. And Jared, I'll toss it over to you and get this conversation started with Yizz about what goes on Mondays with her dragons.
All right.
What goes on? Inquiring minds want to know.
We do want to know.
Well, a few years ago, I wanted to start using my voice to try to do something to make a difference, or I don't know, just share my personality, my charm, the things I've gone through, the things I've learned. And so I started my public voice channel, getting involved in all this between 4 and 5 years ago. And about 3 years ago, I started realizing even if I could make quality content that was what Jason calls doom documenting, making excellently phrased and written scripts for videos that show exactly how screwed up things are, or putting going through news articles, going through legislation that's coming out, and talking about how anti-white it is, how anti-male it is, et cetera, et cetera. It just felt like it would be pointless because there were already larger creators doing exactly that. And after trying my hand at that, I said, well, I can do this, but I would rather do something else. Not only do I feel like this isn't helping, but it's not new. And around 2019, 2020, things started to really go tits up, socially speaking. And I said, you know what? People know how truly effed up everything is. They don't need anybody to tell them that anymore. White people that have even an inkling about what's going on know what's going on. God help men that they know what's going on. They know what's against them. And everybody who cares about morality or being Christian or whatever, or doesn't like degeneracy and the cancerous materialist modernity, well, they've known since I was a kid that things were off the rails and going terribly. So I said, well, what can I do? What can I do to add my voice to things while also trying to get people that care about race, that care about civilizational stuff, to use the right words and talk about things in a constructive way? What can I do? And I said, well, people like to be entertained. People like to laugh at the buffoonery in the news. People like to laugh at the clownish politicians we have. And I said, well, I can do that. I'm funny. I'm pretty smart. I'm pretty clever. I can make people laugh. And people also really love role-playing games, video games, Dungeons and Dragons, World of Darkness, Vampire the Masquerade, Battletech, Mech Warrior, Warhammer 40K. They like all this nerdy shit that I like. A lot of people my age and younger than me and older than me, they got kids that play games, so they know it that way. A lot of people that are our age are big kids, and they still play those games with their kids, that kind of thing. So I said, well how about I try to do a mix of an engaging, let's laugh at the news and look at memes channel. Let's sprinkle some Dungeons and Dragons and video games and role-playing games on it. And I'm going to make it a panel show where I have a rotating series of guests and a special guest every week. And I just sort of cram it all together and see what I can make. And around, I think a little over or a little under 2 years ago, right around 2 years ago, was when I did the pilot episode called Dragons of, what was it? Dragons of Discord or Dragons of Disapproval. I didn't have Discordant Dragons first. It was something else. And a friend of mine from the UK helped me launch it. And then a few months later, after rolling the format around and thinking about how to change it, I launched the first Discordant Dragons. And it's been great for me ever since. I haven't been able to do it every Monday because, as you know, I'm small time and I spend about half my week having to work and make money and try to life build here in Tennessee. So I typically only work Monday to Wednesday doing channel stuff, activism, that kind of thing. My work week actually starts after I'm done with my mother and my cousin after church, and I get settled and start looking at news and get ready for the Go Free stream on Sunday. So Discordant Dragons is basically my primary event each week that I spend all day Monday reviewing news articles, listening to popular news streams and comedy streams. I'm part of several meme servers, and I collect the best and the most interesting and the most unbelievable or shocking of clown world news, and the most poppin' and hippest and freshest that I can for an old person of the memes that the kids are sharing. And I sort of stir it all together and see what comes. And in doing so, I see which will be the most interesting that an outside alien entity to our world would look at and say, this doesn't make any sense. This is bizarre. What the hell is this about? And that's what the dragons are. I pretend to be the ambassador to the Council of Worms, which is an old 1990s D&D box set, a Dungeons & Dragons boxed set. And for those of you who don't know, a boxed set was usually a campaign setting where you'd play a role-playing game in. Well, Council of Worms is where dragons, fantasy make-believe dragons, of course, they live among the dwarves and the elves and the humans and the other species of fantasy worlds. And they have this big sort of magic-based cosmopolitan, and there's plenty of war and stuff. It's not all hunky-dory utopia garbage. It's very conflict-heavy. But they live in this complex society where good versus evil, chaos versus law, mortal versus immortal happens. And the Council of Worms are species of both dragons and mortals that come together to try to make it all make sense and keep everybody from genociding each other to death. And I said, hey, that kind of sounds like what I'm trying to do with the Go Free stuff. I don't want us to genocide each other to death. Let's do something. Let's try to add against or fight against this. So I decided to use the role playing framework of the dragons. So every week when I choose my 5 topics, I have 5 dragons, and I always choose beautiful, interesting artwork for each dragon. And I type up a little blurb for them. And the dragons always have something poignant, interesting, or enlightening to say. And they come at these news articles in obtuse or interesting ways that will hopefully make not just my guests on stream, but my viewers and listeners think about the why behind what's being told to us in the news. What things are chosen to get limelight in the media while other things are buried. And all throughout it, I'm carefully and casually sprinkling in the Go Free lexicon, sprinkling in some meme curatives here and there, pointing out, oh, hey, see how notably anti-white this is when you just stop and think about it? But I'm not so direct with it most of the time. I have the dragons comment on it. Sometimes when we're reading an article and we see the word like racism or something, I'll stop and say, now, what have we learned, class? We learned that every time you see this word, it means white people are evil and sit at the top of a pyramid of oppression. That's what this word always means. And then I'll have like a dragon comment on it that way or something. So it's sort of like a variety show that has comedy, it has memes, it has white pilling, uplifting stuff. We talk about some dark stuff, but I try to get at least 4 guests every week. So we have a nice panel and I try to keep things moving. So we don't have long, lengthy intellectual debates about one topic. We just have people sharing their mind, oftentimes very seriously, about topics, and then quickly moving on to something else. So it's a nice mix of a lot of the things that I think people think are engaging, interesting content that are good mind fuel. And it's also shallow comedy with making people laugh, saying raunchy things, saying spicy things that, you know, I can't leave the streams up on YouTube. I have to take them down because, you know, we say spicy words, we say slurs for a laugh. We'll say really dark, raunchy things. Sometimes some of the memes will be way too spicy to leave up on YouTube, and they might even get you banned on Facebook. So I take the streams down every Monday, but they stay up on DLive for 3 days, and they stay up for good on Odyssey. And you can always check them out there. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. That's what Discordant Dragons is. It's a lot of fun. And since I'm the unifier, keep in mind, you're going to hear people with conflicting ideas on my stream. I don't want to just talk to people every week that already agree and think exactly like I do. That's very boring for me since I have a hungry mind. And keep in mind, most people you talk to out there, they're nowhere near the power level of regular listeners to this show. You have to walk them towards things. People are going to be, maybe they voted Democrat most of their life. Maybe they have gone to a church that taught them even talking about race is ungodly. Maybe they're a regular ass American. They're what we might call the Civnat cuck sometimes. Well, that's fine. You know what? Most of the people that you meet in your life that you'll need to influence, they ain't going to be like us already. Did you start off the way we are now? Hell no, you didn't. We all got to get here somehow. And so with that in mind, I bring people on who are Mises libertarians. I bring people on who are disaffected liberals that got sick of it all and now they don't have a political home. I bring on people who are full-on Natsock white identitarians sometimes. I bring on people that are based Catholic monarchy people that want to go back to having a king. But the thing that connects all these people is they know me. They like what I have to say. They're my friend. Some of them I've met in real life. Some of them I just know from doing streams from around the way. Some of them live in different countries from America. But they all have a vested interest in dispelling the narrative of lies and helping us have a future. Everybody that comes on my show is like that, even if they have methods or have done things or are currently still doing things that aren't exactly in line with what Jason preaches on his Go Free stream. These people are engaging people that have minds, channels. Maybe they're publishers, maybe they're writers, maybe they're school teachers, maybe they work for a gym or something. But the people that I bring onto my stream, whether they're big time or small time, they all have a vested interest in dispelling the lies and trying to heal our civilization. whatever angle that happens to be. So it's a good collection of people that come together and share ideas, laugh at retarded stuff in the news, laugh at the dumb shit politicians say, and then we look at memes and laugh together. And I feel like that's a nice holistic bringing people together that in the service of something larger, which of course I would call white well-being. And I feel like if I can get off the ground and actually grow, I think that this format has a wonderful chance of success at not just spreading the lexicon and the ideas that I think are most important, but just exposing a lot of regular listeners to ideas and concepts in a shallow, friendly setting that they wouldn't get any other way. So there we go. That's my main thing that I work on, and the main thing I feel like I contribute to what we're all doing together.
Yizz, it sounds like the role that you're playing there and kind of what you're tapping into is kind of that magician, holy fool archetype. I mean, I don't know if there's always different layers, and I don't want to box you into something. So I'm just kind of throwing that out.
ForNull, Jared's cheating. He's looking at my character sheet.
I'm kind of just throwing that out there. I don't even know what that means. I'm throwing that out there just to see how it strikes you, because I appreciate that hungry mind that you have and the openness. And you're absolutely right that we need to talk to different kinds of people and have a more multidimensional approach, be realistic about things. But the fact that you're saying, like, you create these characters, it's kind of this mythic world, but it's very silly, but a lot of truth comes out, or people feel like they can really speak their minds when there's that mask, or there's that mixture of truth, but something like poetic and funny all at the same time.
Right. And like one of the things that I can do with the dragons is they get to assign their own words to the things they observe on Earth. And so instead of, naming a particular ethnic group or anything, they will say, well, in the desert kingdoms that I lord over, the scheming merchant lords have always tried to overthrow the kings by using propaganda and lies and turning sons against fathers. And so they can talk about in a comedic way what you and I would call the anti-whites, or some would name the J, et cetera, but do it in a way that lets people sort of fill in the blanks with what they think about civilization. But we're also talking about important topics. And because of the comedy and because of the fictitious scheme on all of it, it lets us be able to talk about serious, deep things with words and language that might otherwise get channels flagged or turn families against themselves. And so I want the ideas that I learned from all of the people that came from me in the WN camp, the NS camp, listening to people like, David Duke and Jared Taylor, all the different things that I've learned from different camps along the way. So much of what I have learned is couched in terminology, ideology, and phraseology that makes 99% of regular people immediately shut off in their brain and not want to listen to what you have to say. So that's why I agree with what Jason says, that almost all of that stuff that's come before is a failed tactic. Because I knew that before I even knew who Jason was, is none of this works. I can't talk about, hey, let me tell you what you were lied to about in history for 9 million years. Let me tell you about how everything that you know is a complete and total lie, but you got to trust me with what I say. Like that doesn't work. Like that doesn't work with anybody. And so I like approaching the how do we fix people by thinking about what I can sprinkle in front of the common man to make him take the first step away from the narrative of lies. And that's pretty much what my channel exists to do, is to cast a net of white positivity, male positivity, and moral positivity. Of course, being an Appalachian Christian type person, that's, a lot of the times on my channel, it'll be from a Christian standpoint, but it's on my channel, we like morality. We're pro-men, we're pro-white, we're pro-America. That's what it is on my channel. And so that resonates with regular people, man, like regular folks that listen, like they like that stuff. And so when they feel that vibe, they want to listen to what I have to say. And I'm not saying anything too crazy, really. I'm not saying it in language or words or symbols that everything in the media and their school books is taught to recoil against. I'm saying it in normal, relatable, fun stuff, or with metaphor and games, or using the Go Free lexicon. And that works too. So that's That's what I hope happens on my channel anyway. And I have been slowly growing. I've had several people reach out to me from libertarian camps or disaffected liberal camps, people that used to follow folks like Carl Benjamin and Tim Pool, and saying, hey, I came across you in these groups, or I saw your name in the chat, and man, I just love your stream. I've learned so much. And so I know that I'm at least reaching a few people. So one step at a time, and hopefully I'll grow and reach even more in time.
You're definitely reaching a lot of people. It's a magnificent show, folks. And please, you have to help us spread the show, because like the great Jared George says, we have to be the algorithm. We are shadow banned, and we've only begun to creep out of a sort of a calcified, frozen state because of all of the advertising that's going on. They're not suggesting us. They're not suggesting anybody who is heretical to anti-whiteism, unless it's a heresy that is feckless, and then they'll happily spread that around. But when it comes to us, they're not going to be suggesting. So we have to share these things with our friend groups online. You say, oh, well, I would, Jason, but I don't have a friend group. Well, then you better go out there and make 10 friend groups. Go out there. If you're doing nothing else but showing up, this is not what we do in service to white well-being. We are all on the stage. We are all on the field. We are all doers. That's what sets us apart from all of these other communities of these easy chair philosophers and historians and etc. that do nothing but sit around. And even attending a meeting is doing nothing. Quite frankly, I get really fed up with these people talking about, well, we went out there and we got together at a meeting, or we handed out some totally useless or even deleterious literature. Well, okay, that's doing nothing. That's doing nothing. I guess it's easier to say to people when they weren't around before the internet and involved in the white sympathetic sphere when everything was done at a meeting. But now, so I knew how feckless it was. But we have something that's really working. So if you are somebody who is imbibing the great material, especially Yizz show, the Discordant Dragon show, it's really dynamic. It's really moves. It does. She does bring on these other folks who are, they're not fully in agreement. And this is what's wonderful, is that no one is pushing Yizz around. She just dominates the conversation. Her show, her house. She's like, you will be quiet now. We're going to leave that alone. And they do, they just, they fall in line and they obey. And I have watched myself on this, and I'm there on Mondays at both of these great shows. I have watched myself as this person or that person was talking about a phenomenon or an event in society, and Yizz is jumping in, other people are jumping in, and before you know it, this person who was not using any of our concepts is using our concepts describing the same event. So they weren't even done describing this. So over the course of the description of the event and their opinions on the event, suddenly by the end, they're using some of the lexicon talking about the event. Now that is a triumph. And if you can't find people in your peer groups that you think could be find some value in that, then you are just definitely not trying. You're just definitely being a lazy tard. And you've got to get active.
That's why I tell people that the lexicon works, man, because all you have to do is just use it. You don't have to instruct people to use it. You use it around them, and language is a contagion. That's why we say we're the curative contagion. Like the people that come onto my stream, like that the Uzulu guy, the centrist guy in the UK that has the Cabal, that I think is a great place I hang out with. We watch TV shows and anime and crap in there. I don't really watch that because I don't care about that shit. But they're a good meme server. They're funny. They're smart. Some of them in there, and he uses the words anti-white now, like not completely unbidden. Sometimes the word racist will come up in an article he's reviewing, and he'll just say, well, that word's an anti-white slur as far as I'm concerned anymore. Well, where do you think he learned that?
Yeah.
He fucking learned that from me. That's who he learned it from. And I didn't like sit him down one day and be like, okay, sir, this is the language you have to use now. No, he just picked it up because it's the correct thing to say in the situation. And the more
works.
It works. And the more you speak it comfortably, confidently, and casually, other primates will pick up on that you're eating the correct berry, and they'll eat the correct berry around you. That's just how it works.
Amen to that. Well, we have this great Discordant Dragons, and then, folks, After that show, we've got Dragon Synth Adventures that comes on. I'm going to hear from ForNull a little bit, telling us about Dragon Synth Adventures, and then we'll have a little bit of a free for all back and forth here before we tap out tonight. But this
Sounds
show,
good. I'll be quiet and let ForNull talk. I know I gab a lot.
but we want you to. That's one of the things that you're great talents, my dear. So don't give up on that. So this show, if you haven't seen it yet, you are really missing out, because if you've never heard of ForNull before, you're really missing a gem. This guy is just multi-talented. He's magnificently talented where he has talents, and he puts together this fantastic show where it is 2+ straight hours of glorious visuals, sometimes intriguing, sometimes, in fact, there have been some of them kind of sexy with some of the females that are drawn and some of those. And at the same time, he's playing this epic music and of various types. And there is this glorious, lively chat going on that the great ForNull himself will jump into, sometimes even appearing on screen, a part of the screen, and he'll jump into it and he'll share his thoughts. People get to sharing like your thoughts on, we were talking about, I think it was 2 weeks ago, vacation spots. And what was your favorite vacation spots? And all kinds of different subjects come up. Everybody gets to share in the live chat. ForNull will speak to, and you can ask him about it. And he's got a very storied life. And so, brother, please jump in and tell us some about Dragon Synth Adventures.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah. So, I mean, you explained a lot of it right there. That's a good synopsis. What I do is you just try and put together some beautiful visuals of different themes. I have a fantasy theme, I have fine art, I have sci-fi, and then I have what I would call maybe like comic book type. And then I have videos. And I've created all these different slideshows and spent a lot of time in OBS creating different overlays to make things happening on the screen. Even with the slideshow, there's activity, there's things moving around, and so and it's all random. The appearance of images, they're not scripted. I don't record it ahead of time. I wrote software to I wrote the what do you call it, the slideshow software myself. And it's funny, sometimes when the music's playing, the images will just line up perfect with the music, and it's totally random. And people will even comment on that sometimes. They'll just say like, you make the visuals line up with the music so good. And I'm just saying, there's probably 5,000 different images in the different slideshows. When it happens, it's just purely random, but it's cool, some of the combinations you get when that happens. But yeah, like you said, got the visuals, got the music. The music is a variety of genres. So, and it's taken time. I've been doing this for over a year. I started out just with a dungeon synth stream. And then I was wanting to name the show something different than ForNull's Dungeon Synth stream. It's just kind of boring, and I wanted a cool show name. And then one time, Hearth of Europa's Katrina, she was advertising my show on their stream, and she called it Dragon Synth instead of Dungeon Synth. And I thought, oh my god, that's perfect. I got to use that.
Yeah.
And the dragon, to me, there's no deep meaning behind using the word dragon. The word dragon has more to do with like fantasy fiction, Dungeons and Dragons, and that kind of stuff than dragons themselves. Tabletop wargaming, to me, that's a great hobby and a pastime rather than watching movies or just sitting around doing nothing. I like doing wargaming things. I like fighting little skirmishes and things like that. I played a lot of Squad Leader, Dungeons and Dragons, Ogre, Starfleet Battles, all these old games. I used to just love playing that. and I didn't have a lot of time when I was young to do it because, I'd be having to practice karate. We'd be lifting weights 3 days a week, homework, yard work. I worked with my dad. He owned his business. And so my dad kept me busy. So when I could hang out with my friends and do stuff, if we weren't at a movie, we were playing D&D and things like that. And so anyways, that's kind of the theme behind it. And then the music is a combination of different things. It's not all dungeon synth. I play dungeon synth. I play stuff from the white positive community. You'll hear a lot of Hallander. You'll hear some Andrei Moiseev. You'll hear Lycomedes. You'll hear, I try and get everyone in there. Oh yeah, those are all Andrei Moiseev. I mean, that guy, he started out, he probably only had 30 or 40 subscribers on YouTube, and his stuff is top notch. It sounds like it could be a score to a major motion picture, especially some of his latest stuff is so good. And that was just, I worked harder.
Gift.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I just said he has a true gift.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He does. He does. And Andrei Moiseev, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but that's as close as I can get. That guy, he is just so creative. It just like the music flows through him, and he deserves an audience. And I probably, spent more time promoting his stuff when he first came out than I would my own, because my stuff, I don't, I've already done the music thing and had fun. And for me, I just make stuff for our people and just as a hobby. It's just something fun to do and a way to contribute, some art and stuff that for our community and people that might be brought into it through music or things like that. But back to the Dragon Synth Adventures, I play Dungeon Synth. That's kind of the core thing. But like I said, the white positive stuff, I'll play game soundtracks. Now, see, game soundtracks are awesome because they're designed to be played over and over for a long period of time, this music. It can't be music that's going to annoy you after a few minutes. It has to be music that can kind of just blend in as you get into the game you're playing. And a lot of people will spend tens, hundreds, potentially thousands of hours, and which is probably bad. But in these games and these music, it's like it soaks into their brain. They may not even be focused. They might hear something on my stream, and they'll be like, "Oh my God, that's this from Skyrim. I know the name of that song or whatever." So I like playing game soundtrack stuff. Not only because, as I said, it's designed to be played as kind of a background thing, but also there's some great game soundtracks. And let's see what else. That's mostly it. That's the kind of music I like to play, and I try to vary the show. So sometimes I'll play a lot of more orchestral type pieces, and other times I'll play more synthy, kind of quirky things, and throw in some Viking music. That's what they call it. I don't know. It's kind of like Scandinavian folk music that's kind of jazzed up for to be more than just the raw folk music. But yeah,
what kind of chat does it elicit as people are just taking in these images and sounds? What does it do when people are just the kind of exchange it promotes?
It changes from show to show, the liveliness of it, but on a really good night, on a good Monday, there'll be a lot of people. There'll be it could be anything from them talking about, oh, they went hunting and they did this today, or telling a story, and then other people will be contributing, like say, oh yeah, I've done that before. So it can just be like just like a hangout, like you're just hanging out with your friends, chatting, nothing super heavy usually. And so it can be like that, just a real casual conversation. But sometimes we get into different topics. And sometimes maybe I've been musing over some idea. And so I'm not talking the whole time. I'm reading out what they'll ask me a question or they'll just say something I think's funny. And so I'll read those out. And that might spark a conversation. And like I said, people will ask me questions and that could get me talking for 10 or 15 minutes. And, so that happens. But sometimes I just have stuff that I've been wanting to talk about and get other people's feedback. And so I can just drop that in the middle of the show. The way my show is made, I don't want the pressure of having to come up with a monologue every week. I want it to be spontaneous. I don't want to have to talk if I don't want to. So I make a 2-hour set list, and then depending on how much the audience is asking me things or how many ideas I want to share that I just had been thinking about, that'll kind of govern how much I talk during the show. So sometimes I might talk a total of 15 minutes, in other shows I might just be going the whole time and interacting with the audience. But yeah, I can't think of anything specific. Of course, we talk about white positive topics. We talk about the struggles we're dealing with, but it's not focused on that. It's not focused on our woes. Not that can't come up and that we can't discuss it, but it's more of just a casual, lighthearted kind of thing. And I try and cultivate that. I'm not trying to get super heavy. I probably do that more with my tweets and gabs, go into something and really think about how to say something in a concise way or argue, debate with people that are anti-white or vagues or whatever. I probably do that more typing than I do talking on my stream, where I do keep it rather lighthearted.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It is in a very similar way to Yizz's show. And for folks, everybody here on the panel, if you have any thoughts on each other's shows or suggestions or any other questions, and open the floor up to anybody who have any questions in the live chat. Make sure you tag me so that I can spot it. And also, if you financially gift and it looks like I'm missing it, then let me know. But I'll be keeping an eye on that. Yeah, both of these shows. This is I really want to push this. Mondays, are for the dragons, and Mondays are pretty wretched for everybody. We go back to work, and
Yeah.
so you get off work, or you're nearly depending on your time zone, you're nearly getting off work. You're on your way home from work, and you can turn these on. And we need more people to know. You can get started right away with some really irreverent talk, and then some
Especially my show, because I talk about the
yes.
kind of shit most of us have to deal with at work every damn day.
Yes.
And it's people venting, people talking about the ridiculous crap we have to toe the line on around family and at work, and all these stupid quotas and all the white and male erasure happening. And, oh, you got to say this and you can't say that. And, oh, you got to do this and gender pronouns and all this garbage. And people are just so fed up, they're about to explode after work every day. And I would like for them to turn on my stream and be like, hell yeah, I'm not alone. I'm going to say some of this stuff tomorrow at work. I'm going to tell that fat POS that she's being, white negative, and she's stopped being so anti-white at me, that kind of shit.
Yeah. And awesome. that kind of talk actually happens also on ForNull's show too. And in the live chat, ForNull himself will tell some stories that are hilarious.
Yeah, it goes all over the place. Mine's more random and not as directed, just pure, unadulterated, like hot topics or whatever. Not that that's what Yizz is doing, but hers does have definitely more commentary on current events or the kinds of issues that we're facing daily, where mine just sort of can meander around a little bit. And
yeah, well, that's the beauty of these two dragon shows is Yizz has this structure that is really creative with these dragons and their questions, and then the people get to pick which dragon, or do they pass it to someone else to be able to pick the dragon. It's all really neat. But then
Yeah,
talking about
I wanted to make it like a fun, engaging game show, or you know how some streams they'll have like people will roll dice to see what they do next, or they'll say, okay,
right.
we have to pick a card, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, I want there to be some kind of fun, random, engaging element that makes it feel sort of like a game show. And so every week I nominate a party leader. And the party leader, whenever it's time to go to the next topic or choose the first topic, it's up to the party leader to either choose the first dragon or nominate a party member to choose the first dragon. And whoever makes that choice has to be the one to answer the dragon's question first. And then after the person who has to answer first says something about it, then it just opens up into regular open discussion with everybody on the panel. So it's not that complicated. The rules are easy to follow. There's almost no rules at all. But it does have sort of that fun, random, or surprise game show element to it that makes people happy. So that's the main reason I chose it. Was I just feel like if you can have that little element of fun game show, radio show, podcast game to your stream, it makes people engaged and want to come back. And I think I've done a pretty good job creating the format.
The format's great. Yeah,
Yeah, it really is.
I agree.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear you guys say that. It's good support for me. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh yeah,
It's definitely unique. Jared, I'll give the mic to you in just a moment, but I'm just saying it's definitely unique, so that when people show up, you get this feeling that it is like gaming, where there's a company that's on a mission, but wait, you're talking about things that I have to deal with in my life, and so it's fascinating. And it's a great, going from your show to ForNull's is an awesome segue, because it's like you had this campaign that you were watching folks on, and you were diving into all these topics, and then now it's like more of like the laid back, the cool tunes are playing, the cool visuals are there, and people are just talking about, you could be as the observer, the person who decides what the subject is going to be. But Jared, you were going to say something?
More just the overall view that I always appreciate. And Jason, I mean, you do so many things as well. So I mean, we all have our own projects and ways of communicating that we do. But as someone who just kind of sat back for a while and listened to Yizz and then ForNull bring us more into what they do, it's just so cool to see how people use the internet in all of these different ways. And there's so much talk about how technology is bad for people. We know these social media sites were engineered to give you the dopamine hits and keep you on and keep you addicted and keep scrolling. But just because you don't have to acquiesce to relativism. Woo, where's Jared going? This went in a different direction. You don't have to.
Let me get my dictionary out.
It's gonna make sense in a second. I don't think that you have to, just because you believe in, life has meaning, and it's not all meaningless, because we see a lot of that nihilism going on, and it's a corrosive force in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that we can't understand that there is an aspect of life where it is an ink blot test in certain ways too. It's not one or the other. There are nuances to things, and so you do experience your reality, and you do create your own life and your joy and your meaning to some degree. I'm not saying it's a free for all. I'm not saying it's all willy nilly, but what you focus on. And I made a conscious decision. I guess I'll quickly connect it. I'm not talking about myself, but just to me wrapping back up after a period of relative silence, or at least a lot less activity, of ramping up into not just the song, but everything around it. Like we were saying, having more fun with my social media, micro videos, putting more of my personality into things, is I made a conscious decision that I don't hate the internet. I know, I know the laundry list of ills that people can list, but I've made a decision.
That's harder for me. The Ted pill is strong with me.
I've made a conscious decision, not to turn a blind eye to things, and this applies to a lot of other things, and my life besides the internet. And, I just share it to give people this perspective, because it's so easy, as we all know, to look at the doom and gloom and have that take over you. It's an amazing tool. I'm a communicator, and for someone who deals in the things of the air, like I do, to live in a time where we're all doing this, where we can be in different parts of the world and share music, sounds, words, images, and affect each other, inspire each other, learn from each other. It's absolutely incredible.
It is.
And sometimes really I've had a lot of fun doing what I'm doing with my social media, experimenting with things. And there's been times when I'm on my phone and I'm thinking to myself, I love this. And there's other times when you get, lost in the scroll zombie stare and you realize, oh my God, I just wasted 20 minutes scrolling. And of course, we all try to get more and more disciplined about that. And I've had less and less and less of those moments. But not all the moments of staring at your screen are equal. Sometimes it is just you're procrastinating or you're making an excuse for something. But if you're creating something or you're really communicating something that means something to you or connecting with people, I don't get that kind of sick feeling of my eyes are starting to cross, and when your body just feels like you've been looking at a screen for too long. Now, I still feel like no matter what you're doing, you don't want to look at screens all day, obviously. But I still feel that whether it's this or a lot of other things, you do get what you focus on. You can make it mean what you want it to mean to you, and your spirit and your body, your nervous system will start to, it's a different reality. It's a different experience that you have. So I've tried more and more to not get all doom and gloom about it and just look at this thing, this computer or this phone in my hands, and say, this is an amazing tool. It's an amazing time to be alive. People couldn't broadcast these things in the 60s or 70s. There were a few radio stations. Yeah. I mean, there were radio stations everywhere, but there were a few companies that owned the major radio stations, the three major networks in the United States. It was similar in other countries, TV networks. And now we have this in our hands. And it's just incredible to hear the creativity and the novelty. Like, think of just with everything we've heard tonight, we're just four people, but there's a tremendous variety of using these tools of communication. And it's just, I was just sitting back listening to ForNull and Yizz and just thinking, man, there's just so many different ways you can use this, and everyone's personality comes out.
Yeah.
It's really incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. It takes time though. It takes time to get at the comfort level where you can kind of become yourself.
Yes.
It's taken me a few years of, I never did broadcasting, obviously. Don't even really talk that much in real life in normal day. I'm pretty like I like to just get lost in my projects and do things, and so and
I know this might come as a shock to some of you, but I used to work in sales and was quite good at it.
Well, see, that fits.
I would have never guessed.
I know you never would have guessed that, would you, Jared? Never would have guessed.
I would have pegged you as a librarian, honey.
I might have pegged a few librarians myself when I was younger, but
whoa,
that's for a different conversation.
Ouch!
It's not Monday. It's not Monday yet.
Oh, I forgot. Forgive me. Family stream. Excuse me.
That's TMI.
I just keep the thing.
I forgot what I was saying now, but
the dragon.
Yeah. I was just saying that basically, yeah. It's once you get your comfort level up, and you develop some skills and put a little bit of work into it, you can kind of amplify your attitude out there in your stream, your show, or whatever, your music, your content. That is really neat, and how it manifests differently for different people.
Yeah, I gotta say, everyone is. I mean, I'm watching. I feel like I'm watching Jared George become a better musician. I feel like I'm watching ForNull getting better. He was like ahead of the curve with his understanding of the Go Free method, and now his ability to communicate it and talk to folks is improving like every show. Yizz came in with this magnificent ability to communicate, make people feel comfortable, and knock roadblocks down. And then she's adopted the Go Free method. She brings that to bear and has become an absolute epic powerhouse to transforming the world, because it's transforming our lives, the folks immediately around us. And I'm going to be talking on Sunday about what I observed, just this unbelievable team effort and the power of that team effort. And I know that everyone who was participating could feel the power of it when I was on iHypocrite. And there were a handful of me-nots in there, and there were...
I missed that live. I thought it was going to be Thursday night, and I even had my Thursday night pinned and ready for it. And then I found out Wednesday that it happened the night before, and I was like, what happened? Damn it.
Tuesday.
I had the night wrong. Yeah, I know.
Yes, it was.
I missed it.
I'm going to talk about it because it was what happened in the live chat was, as much as people were saying that the show did go great, and he's written me, and he's so thankful, so grateful. He said he's going to be going back over the audio or the video and pulling out things, like he mentioned during the show that he was thinking about making a video or videos, pulling out points from the conversation, and he said that in private as well. And as good as that went, the teamwork, transformative teamwork, something that is just with something that works, the Go Free method. We had our folks meeting and greeting new people in this live chat and burning down the me-nots with ease and class. It was this team, and in fact, I'm going to share. There were a couple comments there on the thread where people were, it's not just my observation, but people who had never seen or known of us before, they were very surprised at what they felt like was almost a surreal team effort. And that is the genuine power of white well-being collectivized, with a focus on love. Yes, with a focus on love and the recapture of our destiny. That is the kind of power that we can have everywhere, and it was truly magnificent. So, absolutely, to Mr. George's point, this being able to cross space and time, we're on different time zones, and to be able to come together and perform like we're performing, sharing our thoughts, sharing what is changing the world, and then to be able to function as a team. I mean, for the love of God, for all of those years that we were meeting in person, every single time that we met was always in person, before the internet was robust enough for this sort of thing. There was no team effort like that. And even when you would get a handful of guys, we'd go out to poster and put up leaflets. It was really just, it wasn't guys connected by love for our people and the defense of our people. It was all of these individuals who just happened to go out at the same time to put up leaflets, and because their focus was in the wrong place, the material, the content was focused in the wrong place. We weren't changing lives. You didn't feel like you were on this crusade for good, like Yizz tries to put her campaigns on.
Well, and that's the thing that I try to harp on when it comes time to actually talk about serious things. The Go Free method, the reason why I love it, it gives you not just a logical, correct, or literary framework in which to hang your ideas. The most important element of the Go Free method is you always speak from the moral high ground, and that resonates with our people's biospirit. When you speak about things being anti-white, things being bad, things being whatever the case may be, whether you're talking about an article or an advertisement you saw on Sport Ball or some type of policy that floods certain places with mass migration, when you couch it in the framework of Go Free, you're speaking with morality and conviction, and that resonates with people. You're not trying to get them to hate another group. You're not trying to get them to disbelieve history. You're talking about the things they see and experience right now in real time, and you're taking the moral high ground and talking about it directly. That's why it works where everything else fails.
Right. Well, it's been a magnificent tap. We crammed a bunch of great information in here. So remember, folks, you want to follow all of these great content creators. Make sure you're at the shows on Monday when it's Dragon Mondays. Remember, Mondays are for the dragons. Spread that, and we'll be advertising that more to bring more and more people to the awareness of this. And then thereby we're doing our part. And don't forget that on this weekend, Spotify, you're going to be playing Jared George's great song, I Have Made, on and off throughout the weekend to try to bump up the algorithmic response. And we'll get some final thoughts in just a moment, because I'm going to head over to the financial gift tonight, which I believe is, well, we got two. We have we'll hit Rory up first. Rory's financial gift of $3. Thank you so much, good brother. It says, I flew my white dragon flag for Indigenous Peoples Day earlier this month. King Harold II fought under the same flag when he lost his life to William the Conqueror at the Battle of Hastings in 1066. Well, thank you for sharing that. Yes, you brought your dragon to the party. So that's cool. Thank you. Thank you so much, good brother. And then we have this, a financial gift for Jared George, and he most fervently deserves it, from one of our truest and most wonderful ladies, the great Mrs. Jest Horse, financially gifting Jared George $100 US over here on Entropy. She says,
"Amen, sister."
Yes.
Oh,
yeah, she says with those $100, great song and congratulations. This is for you, the great order. Hail Western kind. And she has a bunch of wonderful emojis, clapping hands, white hearts. I think that says 100% and flames and everything. Thank you, sister. That is beautiful. He absolutely deserves that.
Mrs. Horst, and I see her a lot on Instagram. Always, one of the first to comment and like things, and that says a lot. And very humbling. You're great, and your support means a lot. And I'll speak to you more, privately. But thank you so much.
Yeah, yes, indeed. We just have to support each other, folks. You know it, because no one else will. When you see those big Academy Awards, when you see the big Oscars, when you see the big music awards, hell, when you see the awards in sports ball and all that, that's anti-whites giving each other awards. So there's no difference. We need to do the same for each other. And then the outside, all the rest of the world will say, hey, what's that party going on over there? I think I might want to be a part of it. And with that, we'll throw it over to Yizz for her final thought and where you can find her.
My final thoughts is Mondays are Dragon Mondays, starting off at 6 p.m. Eastern with Discordant Dragons. Yizz assembles a party of rough and tumble ragtag team of Americans that are sick of the shit we have to deal with. And we answer questions about ridiculous things in news media and politics on my stream for some very curious, very poignantly minded dragons that have some keen things to say about our society. And of course, we do a great job every week, and we are rewarded with memes, white-pilling articles, and funny internet videos. And we share those with you when we open the treasure trove at the end of the stream. You don't want to miss any of it, but you especially don't want to miss the last part right before we transition over to Dragon Synth Adventures. And I'll turn it over to ForNull now to shill his stream.
Yes. My stream's every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can find it on YouTube. My channel name is Fornelius Nulland. On DLive, it's just ForNull. And I don't know if I'm going to be streaming to Twitch much longer, because Restream changed their policy, and they only let you stream to 2 channels unless you pay. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, you can find me there every Monday.
Awesome, brother. Mr. George, your final thoughts, where folks can find you.
Well, first of all, again, it was just interesting to have this conversation, hear how different people use the internet and communication, and I just appreciate it, and we appreciate the support. It's always, always interesting. Something good always comes out of these shows. So I wanted to first sound that note of gratitude, and we're celebrating. I'm very happy to have a song released and be back on this whole getting on momentum of being a public musician, which I very much enjoy. And I I guess since you're all on YouTube, the easiest thing to say would maybe be right now, if you're listening, live or soon thereafter. If you go to I Have Made on my YouTube channel, my pinned comment, the link there would take you to the streaming services. Again, help me out if you wouldn't mind giving it a play, especially on Spotify this weekend. That's what I'm focusing on. And then if you're listening in replay, I guess the easiest thing is thegreatorder.com. I eventually want to revamp the site, make it a little snazzier, but you can still find all my stuff there and all the relevant links. So that's probably the easiest thing to remember, of course. But thank you again. A lot of fun, and definitely appreciate all the kind words and support. And Jason, always very perceptive with your questions and brings different things out. It's always interesting to hear how your mind works and picks things up, picks things apart.
Well, I appreciate that, good brother. And let's see if this works as I read us out here at the end. I think it might. We'll see. Can anybody hear that?
I hear it.
Right.
Yep.
All right. Well, then what we'll do is I'll quickly say a big thank you to everybody who was in the live chat today and everybody who will be watching in replay as well. Make sure, I want to do with this particular TAP episode is I would like you all to make a promise to me. I'd like you all to commit that you're going to take this particular episode and you're going to spread it the rest of the evening. You're going to spread it some tomorrow as well. You're going to get it out to different chat groups. You want people to know that we had a great time here. We had a brand new music a song debuted, and we talked about Dragon Mondays, and the two heads, the two dragon wizards were here with us. Yeah, let folks know that a lot of fun is going on. Big thank you to everybody who financially gifted Rory and Mrs. Jess Horst, especially her gift to Jared George. That's marvelous. Thank you so much, dear lady. You've been a true champion for a long time. Make sure on Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern, you're going to be over with Yizz at Discordant Dragons. At 8 Eastern, you're going to be over with the great ForNull at Dragon Synth Adventures. You're going to be with both of those. This weekend, you're going to head on over to Spotify if you can, and you're going to play I Have Made, the song that's playing right now in the background by Jared George. Give it a few plays over the weekend to try to algorithmically pump it up and do him a little good there. And make sure to give him an attaboy in live chats and on threads when you get an opportunity for that as well. And I will leave everybody with this as we get ready to tap out. We have confirmed for next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, for tap with Little Apostate. She's going to be here. We're going places. Let people know.
Hell yeah.
Folks. And we look forward to seeing you all again next time.